Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today sit a while for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators history. So we are now on July 1st, 1996. Like I said in the previous episode, I simmed all the way there. There's quite a bit to go through here before we start simming forward. So I'm gonna get right into it. First of all, my expectation for this season is going to be making the playoffs, or at least, let's not say making the playoffs. Let's say really battling hard to be in the playoff spot. I think we were somewhat close in the previous season. I think we can do better this year. So we are on my staff page because I made one change. I had a couple scouts that needed extensions. You know how I feel about scouts. I don't really look at the scouting reports per se, but the scouts are necessary to have because in my universe some players may get better or worse than they did in real life, so that's gonna kind of give me an idea for that. But other than that, I don't really pay attention to the scouting reports, so I just extended all the scouts that needed extended. However, I fired my offensive coach. I didn't fire him, his contract expired. I didn't renew it, mostly because our offensive coach was somebody that was focused on defense, so that might have hurt the development of a guy like Alexander Daigle, for example, or that might explain why a guy like Alfredson seems to be taking a little bit to develop. So I got a different offensive coach as an assistant coach. I got this guy here, Tyler Benedict. So if you look at his coaching ratings, sure, the coaching forwards might not be like all the way up, but look at that offensive skills. So I'm really hoping that he can help with my young forwards, because I have a lot of my forwards are young. Even Yashin is still young, so hopefully that's going to help with that. So that was my one change that I made there. Now we're gonna go to the news. There's quite a few, so I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can while giving all of the information, obviously. So we're gonna go ahead and come in here, go all the way at the bottom. So one of the first things that I did is that I gave Lonnie Loach an extension. I was going to be thin on left wing, so prior to hitting free agency, I extended Lonnie Loach to 3 years. I think 420,000. Is that it? Yeah, 420 a year for 3 years. I think that's fair. He's been playing okay. He's not a superstar, but we were very thin on left wing, and he's about a half a point per game player. At least that's what he was last year. A little bit more than that. Although he was a minus 24. We did struggle to score goals all season. Alright, so that does it for that. Then there's been a big surge of firings and rehirings with a bug that I thought was out of the game. I thought I read somewhere that was not happening anymore. You'll see here in just a second. So first, Montreal got rid of Serge Savard. So Serge Savard is gone, and he's going to be replaced by Bob Gainey. So Bob Gainey in real life became the GM of Montreal, but a lot later in their history. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens with that. And then he got rid of Jacques Demers. Montreal did horrible last year. They finished under us, or below us rather. So they really didn't do all that great. So they get rid of Jacques Demers, and they get Ken Hitchcock to replace him. So bold move by Gainey, getting somebody who's not speaking French to be the coach in Montreal. People are probably out in the streets, breaking store windows and stuff. So here is the little bug that is kind of annoying, and I thought it was out of the game. Sadly, it appears that it's not, at least not in historical games. So Toronto fired Pat Burns as their coach, which that's fine with me, except that the replacement that was signed to replace him is Pat Burns. So, yeah. So the Rangers fired Terry Crisp, and he's replaced by Terry Murray. And then we have that kind of bug again. So Doug Risebrough was fired as general manager of the Flames, and they replace him with Doug Risebrough. So I don't know if it's because like he gets extended and like there's something not working in the back end of the engine. My guess is that it's what's happening, but I'm not sure. So. And then they got rid of Bob Plager as the coach, and they got Butch Goring instead. Al Arbor is not a coach for the Islanders anymore, and he was replaced by Terry Crisp. So Barry Trotz was fired from his job in Edmonton, and he is replaced by Jacques Demers, who was just let go by Montreal. Tampa Bay shows Holmgren the door, and Jean Perron, who was fired during the season, gets the job in Tampa Bay. Alright, so coach John Cuniff has been fired in Anaheim, and Paul Holmgren is going to get a shot with the Mighty Ducks. And there was a trade between the Islanders and the Devils that I feel that the Islanders won. So the Devils sent Bruce Driver and Denis Gauthier to the Islanders for Jeff Norton and Steve McLaren. So Bruce Driver is up in age and everything. He hasn't played a whole lot in New Jersey and everything. But Denis Gauthier is a capable defender. Not a superstar, but capable. And Steve McLaren, I doubt, is going to become much of anything. So I think that the Islanders got a little bit of the upper hand in that one. Then there's been some retirements. So then we hit July 1st, and there was a whole bunch of emails again. So Glenn Anderson in Toronto retired. Brian Benning in New Jersey retired at 30 years old. Doug Crossman in Tampa Bay retires at 36. Alai Afrate in Washington retires at 30. Yari Curry in LA retires at 36. Joe Mullen in Pittsburgh retires at 39. He was still productive, I think. Yeah, he had a 94-point season. You could have continued, buddy. I understand you're 39. I mean, you know your body better than I do. But, yeah. Then there's been a bunch of little trades. So, Tom Peterson and Andrei Nazarov go to the Rangers for Dean McCammon and James Patrick. So James Patrick is getting older. He's not quite the player that he used to be when he was younger. Then a young Dean McCammon. So he should have a lot of speed. At least I hope so, because McCammon was a pretty speedy player. For Tom Peterson and Andrei Nazarov, it's hard to say who got the better end of the deal. I guess if Nazarov I guess not. Nazarov had some potential in real life. It looks like in the game he doesn't really have a lot of potential. He's just an alpha star player, so I guess it's kind of an even trade for the most part. Alright, little trade between the Stars and the Maple Leafs. So Mike Hurlbut goes to Toronto for Grant Marshall. Bob Basson and Kevin Sawyer go to Detroit for Raimo Elmanen and Daryl LaPlante. So Detroit gets the better end of the deal here. Bob Basson is the best player in that trade. Then there was a trade between Buffalo and St. Louis. So Ken Sutton and Jay McKee go to St. Louis for Philippe Boucher and Derek Bakar. So I'd say it's pretty much an even trade. I mean, Ken Sutton and Jay Mickey are both capable defensemen, but they're no superstar. Philippe Boucher is a little bit more of an offensive defenseman. He has a little bit more power to him, so kind of makes sense. Then Pittsburgh and the Rangers made a trade. So Paul Stanton and Ryan Savoia go to the Rangers for Adrian Aucoin and Sylvain Blouin. So Aucoin should become a pretty good defenseman. So Pittsburgh making a decent trade here. They might not get worse anytime soon at this point. All right, so we got so those are the kind of free agents that Ottawa in real life had signed prior to the 96-97 season. So we now have Andreas Dackl and Sami Salo on the team with a contract. I'm probably not going to play Salo this year, but Dackl is already a 2-star right winger, so he's probably going to be playing. That's at least my plan. Yeah. Only other news is, if you're familiar with the NHL history, prior to the 96-97 season, the Winnipeg Jets moved to Arizona. So they are going to be the Phoenix Coyotes now. And later on, much later on, the Phoenix Coyotes are going to become the Arizona Coyotes. But for now, it's going to be the Phoenix Coyotes. Alright, so that's for the news. Now you can see that I have made some trade offers, some free agent signing offers. As you can see, I'm not going for a lot of players, and those were pretty much the best ones available. So it's really slim pickings this year for free agency. There's not a Calle Johansson waiting for me there to be signed with a lot of money. So I had to kind of settle for that. Trust me, I'm not the biggest believer in Todd Warner, but he was one of the best options at left wing, and I need some left winger, so I really need to be able to sign him and Yakmanov. I'm gonna try to bring back Scott Thornton as a 4/5 center. Then I kind of need another right D, and Per Juice is the best that was available. It was either that or bringing Tommy Shodin back. So we're going to try a different player. Shodin didn't quite do much for us, so we're going to try to go in another direction. So that's what's been going on prior to me. Oh, and I got extended. They said that I was doing a outstanding job. Of course, I got extended mostly because I cannot be fired, and I did score 9 points for my GM rating for the previous season, so I'm up to 13 in my career. Alright, so now that we're all caught up, let's go ahead and advance that. I really need to be able to sign those players. We don't have a lot of depth, especially on left wing. We're really thin. Alright, so we're getting a notification that Per Juice is considering us. Same for Scott Thornton. Same for Todd Warner. I have to be careful. In the previous season, somebody said something different. So, all right. Ray Whitney dumps agent over lack of a new deal. So we've kind of seen that story before. It seems to happen to one pretty good player every year. So who was it the previous season? Was it Keith Kitchuk, or was it like 2 seasons ago or something like that? So there you go. And then, all right. So Toronto just got Mike Hurlbut, and now they're doing him to the orders for Martin Gélina. So Gélina's going to be a Maple Leaf now. That's interesting. Gélina was a pretty decent character guy. He could put up points too. So then Hurlbut is Oh yeah, I think he's riding that really good season he had in Dallas. He had 38 points. That's pretty good for him. Alright, so still getting news about players needing to get more comfortable with the team. Scott Thornton wants more money. Okay. I can give you a little bit more. Here. Alright. And Todd Warner wants more money. Oh my god. I'm going to offer you more money, but that's really because I need a left winger. I need somebody to fill a jersey here. Alright, so Per Juice is now a member of the Ottawa Senators. So, thank you, sir. Alright, and then Thornton and Warner are going to be looking at that. Looks like we're still the top bidder for Yakmanev. I'm kind of giving him a little bit of a good offer here. Hopefully he's going to bite. Really could use Yakmanev on the team. And that's saying much. I mean, he's not a superstar or anything, but we're so thin at left wing. We really need somebody that can play there. So it looks like we're still the top there. Alright, awesome. So we got Yakmanev. Perfect. Alright, so, and we signed Scott Thornton. Again, I'm not signing him to be a superstar or anything, but on the fourth line, I think that's I can do worse than Scott Thornton, and especially looking at what was in the free agency. I could have brought back Kevin Todd, I guess. Alright, and then there's been a trade between the Sharks and the Bruins. Ooh. Oh. That's very interesting. So the Sharks traded Sandis Ozolinsh and Vesa Toskala to the Bruins for Glenn Wesley and Yevgeny Shaldebin. So the Sharks get a pretty good defenseman, but the Bruins get a pretty good defenseman too, but younger. And then Vesa Toskala, who is in real life reputation of allowing like a really bad goal a year from center ice or something. But in the game, maybe he's gonna develop to be okay. Wow, that's one of the big trades that we've seen. Seems like the Bruins is the team that always makes those big trades. They got Keith Primo as well, so that was a pretty big trade. I like that. The Bruins are gutsy. Alright, and I managed to sign Todd Warner as well. So, alright. So, Ray Whitney found a new agent. He's pretty happy. Now we're going to be going a little bit faster because there's usually not a whole lot happening in July. Just going to make sure my scouts are set to work. They are. All right. Now that development report is probably not going to be all that great. Hopefully we can see a couple good things there. So, of course, I just signed Per Juice and he's getting worse. And then I have all of my unsigned rookies that are getting better. You can see Chris Phillips. I am not going to do like the Sens did in real life. I'm going to wait a little bit before I sign him and bring him up. He's only an alpha star anyway, so probably makes sense to do that. I don't know if I mentioned it in the past or not. Generally speaking, I usually try to wait until my rookies are 20 years old before I sign them to their first contract. That gives them time to develop like that as a rookie without having to deal with my coaches, basically. Alright, so Gilles Meloche enters the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Steve Schott as well, so I did vote for both of them. Rick Middleton got into the Hall of Fame as well. And Batgate got into the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to those 4 players. Alright. Again, kind of the same thing. We're going to try to cruise through August. There's not going to be a whole lot happening. So Gino Cavallini hosts a charity golf tournament. So he's a better player. Right, so there was a trade between the Flames and the Rangers. So Ronnie Stern is going to the Rangers for Drake Berehowski. So all right. Not a lot going on. Okay, so Martin Ruzinski and Pavel Kubina pitched in at a homeless shelter. So looks like Ruzinski is with the Tampa Bay Lightning right now, and of course Pavel Kubina. So, then there was a trade between the Stars and the Devils. So Brad Lukowicz goes to the Devils, and they just got Jeff Norton from the Islanders. So now they're moving Jeff Norton to the Stars. So Jeff Norton is now with Dallas, and Brad Lukowicz, who is a young 20-year-old defenseman right now, is going to be in the Devils system. Oh, Vinny Prospel, barbecue too hot to handle for Vinny Prospel. Oh, we have a trade proposal from the Maple Leafs. So the Leafs are still considered to be in the Western Conference right now. They are offering me Mark Kolesar for Persvart Vadit. I don't think so. Alright, so that development report is also not going to be all that extraordinary. Oh, actually, it's really good. Never mind what I say. Just believe what you see on the screen. Alright, so looks like my minors and young guys that are unsigned are all getting boosts, but Colin Forbes got a +3 in screening. Alright, so That's not bad. Not bad at all. I haven't seen a +3 in something in a very long time. He also got +2 in stick checking, but he's still an alpha star. So despite all of those increases, he's still struggling. So we are about to start preseason. So preseason starts this month on the 20th in Montreal for us, and then the regular season starts on October 5th in Montreal as well. So as usual, I'm only going to, now that we went through July and everything, I'm only going to do the preseason for this video. Alright, so let's go ahead and see. Usually in September there's a couple more things going on, I believe. Oh yeah, and I want to send up as many people as possible to be used for preseason. Oops. Sorry, that part takes a while because I don't think there's a way to select everybody and do this. I have to do it one by one. Alright, so let's continue going forward. Oh, yeah. I have to assign a bunch of numbers now. Colin Forbes, you can have number 47. There you go. Alright, you get number 1, that's fine. Christian Afflam will get number 4. Chris Phillips is not there yet, so you can have that for now. Chad Penny wants number 25. Alright, Stan Neskash wants number 2. You're gonna have to deal with number 5. How about that? Alright, Damian Rhodes wants number 1. You can't have it. 30 it is. Alright, Washburn wants 17. I'm gonna give him 16. Patrick Travers wants number 3. He's getting number 54. And Sheldon Sorry wants number 44. Not now, buddy. 43 it is. Alright, so we are starting to be getting scouting reports again. And I am not really looking at them again. Alright, so in 5 days preseason starts. Alright, now that's the one that I'm really looking forward to. Let's see. Alright. Alright, so not as great as I was hoping, but like Alfredson got quite a few good things there. He's now a 2.5 star player. So yeah, it looks like my scouts have him as only a 3.5 star potential player. I think it's a little low, but my scouts could be wrong, and that could go up. We don't know. Yeah, I see McCabe's potential went from a 4.5 star to a 4 star now, so I don't think he's going to get as good as they initially thought. So we are playing Montreal in the first game of the preseason. Of course, we're going to take a look at their lineup. Hopefully they made some bad decisions. So they still have Patrick Roy and Frédéric Chabot in net. Utila, Andy, Matthew Schneider, Bob Beers is still there. Brisebois, Desjardins, Odeline, Jeff Smith, Brian Bellows, Vincent Affus, John Leclerc, Brian Savage, Koivu, Brian Holzinger, Stéphane Lebeau, Kirk Muller, Pascal Réon, Patrick Poulin. They still have Bergquist, Mike Keane, Patrick Chedwin, and Darcy Tucker. So not a lot of changes to their lineup. That's very similar to the lineup they had last year. So they didn't make the playoffs with that lineup, and they are going to attempt to do it with that, which is eerily similar to what Mark Bergevin is doing right now with the Canadians. He's not really moving. Montreal missed the playoffs last year, and he's not doing a whole lot to change that, for better or worse. All right, so let's go ahead and play this game. So we are... Alright, so that's interesting. It's preseason, so I'm not putting too much stock into the lines right now or anything like that. I think it's interesting that Alfredson is playing left wing on the third line. But like I said, it's preseason, so the coach is probably going to try a bunch of stuff. And we are going with Ronnick Stahl. So is Ronnick Stahl getting his starter job back? I don't know. All I know is we lost 3-0. I don't like that. Alright, so we were outshot 34-32. Patrick Roy was the first star with a 32 save performance. Mike Keane, 2 goals and an assist. Second star, Danfous, a goal and an assist for the third star. Obviously, none of those stats count. This is preseason, but I don't like losing 3-0 regardless. Oh, well, that's a bad start to the season for the Avalanche. Peter Forsberg is out for 5 weeks. Thankfully, it's preseason, so he's only going to miss, like, what, 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe 10 games or so, maybe, that he's going to miss. Alright, we are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they lost Joe Mullen to retirement. So let's see what they have. So apparently they have a weakness at D and in net. So let's take a look at that. So Tom Barrasso is starting to decline in ability. He's only a 2-star now. And then Ken Riggett, Adrian Aucoin on D, Jim Johnson, Matthias Nordstrom, Michael Sikora, Ulf Samuelsson, Jan Vopat, Nemesnikov, Larry Murphy, Shell Samuelsson. Then Jagger, Jeff Daniels, Bob Airy, Kevin Stevens. Ron Francis, Lemieux, Jan Arduna, Richard Park. Mike Stapleton, Martin Strecker, Sean McEachern, and Rick Tocchet. Yeah, they're still going to be a fairly scary team, but you can see that the talent gets a little bit more diluted when, after you're past Lemieux, Francis, and Jagger. Then you have Larry Murphy, but he's 35. And then you have a couple other decent players, but there's a lot of one-star players here. So I can see why that's seen as a weakness on D and everything. They don't have a whole lot left on D. So I wonder if Pittsburgh is beatable now. Alright, so let's see what we have here. Alright, let's go. None of my defensemen are going to be starters for the season. That's going to be interesting against Pittsburgh. So Gieber in net against Barrasso. And we lost 3-1. Alright, we were outshot 48-15. There's really a thematic against with playing against Pittsburgh and being outshot ridiculously. So 48-15. Of course, I really didn't have a good D playing that game, so for this particular game, I'm not really going to raise a stink about it. So Mario Lemieux was the first star. He had a goal and an assist. Chad Penny for us had a goal. He's the second star, and Jaromir Jagr, third star, with a goal and an assist as well. So the goal was scored by Chad Penny, assisted by Mike Sonninger. And now we're playing against Hartford. Memorable night for Scott Stevens, who had 3 goals and 2 assists for New Jersey. Sadly for him, it happened in preseason, so it doesn't count. Gilbert Dion lights the lamp. Same thing for you, buddy. Hat trick for you with the Panthers, but preseason. Right, we are now playing Hartford. So Hartford made the playoffs pretty comfortably in the last season. They even won a round, I believe. They have Brian Burke as the GM. Let's take a look at their team. So Sean Burke in net is a pretty good goaltender. Fred Brathwaite, Chris Pronger, of course. Chris Dahlquist, Brian Marchment, Darren Rumble. Adam Burt, Michel Petit, Gino Cavallini, Murray Craven, Randy Kennyworth, Pavel Dimitra that I traded to them. How's Pavel doing? He had a 26-point season. Jeff Sanderson, Andrew Castles, Greg Johnson. Yep. Oh, they have Igor Larionov as well. Miguel Nylander, Pat Elena, Grant Marshall, Stefan Riches, Cut Walker, Pat Verbeek, and Terry Yake. You know what? They have a pretty good team. I should have re-signed Scott Walker. That slipped through the cracks because he has a decent potential. So I missed that. It happens. They have a decent team. No, not a lot of firepower, like superstar firepower, but they have quite a few fairly solid players there. We're gonna need to watch them. Can they win the cup before they move to Carolina? I don't think so. But all right, so we have Alfredson on the second line. I like that a little bit better. All right, facing Fred Brathwaite. We won that one 8-1, so good showing. And we had Extall in net. So we outshot them 48-29. Norm McIver was the first star with a goal and 2 assists. Per Juice was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Ron Extall, third star with a 28 save performance. So Bunk from Norm McIver, Per Juice from Andreas Dackel, Todd Warner from Dackel and Norm McIver. So my newcomers are participating. Jody L from Kelly Johansson and Yakmenov, Hammerlick from Baker and Loach, Halfredson from Brunet and Yashin, Loach from Per Juice, Norm McIver on the power play from Yashin and Loach, and that was it. Pretty good game. Right, we are now going to be playing the Blues, so we're going to take a look at them. Oh, they have Valery Karpov is injured, and Nelson Emerson is injured, but he might play. Alright, so Milan Nuchka and Curtis Joseph in net. Of course, Curtis Joseph should be the starter. Pretty good goaltender, as you can see, by the 4.5 stars. And then Kevin Dean, Igor Ulanov, Rick Zombo, Jeff Brown, Nathan Dempsey, Stefan Ketal. So that D is a little shaky. Helminen, Dave Laurie, Brendan Shannon, Reasoner, Gianni, Daryl Laplan, Ron Sutter, Ron Wilson, Harry York, Paul Broughton. That's our. They have a lot of good players, but they have a lot of players that are not that great on their lineup too. So that makes for an interesting mix. There's not a lot of good but not great players on the team. We're putting Alfredson back on the third line, but he's playing with Salinger and Yakmanov, so that's a line that kind of makes sense. And we lost 3-0, so that's the second time in the preseason we got shut out. I don't like that. We were also outshot 46-35. So Curtis Joseph was the first star with 35 saves and the shutout. Second star was Brettel, a goal and an assist, and Brendan Shannon with a goal was the third star. Who did we have on D? Johnson McCarvers has, yeah, we had pretty much our D that's, set in stone. That's scary. Jaromir Jagr has a strong game. He had 3 goals, hat-trick against the Sharks. We are playing against the Canucks. So the Canucks have Kirk McLean and Bob Essensa in net, Yerky Lume, Mark Wotton, Brent Sopel, Francis Cusero, Doug Lidster, Dennis Vasky, Greg Adams, Jeff Renner, Cron, Miley, Charles Linden, Nedved, Pekka, Ronnie, Tansel, Buri, Kudelski. Oh, Bob Kudelski is in Vancouver now. Oh, look at that season 2 years ago for the Kings. Yikes. 41 games played, 1 goal, that's it. Vorak, Sweeney, Valk, and Ward. Decent little team. Maybe a little weak on the right side after Pavel Burma. It's hard to tell. A little thin on D though. I'm not too sold on that D after Yerky Lume. There's not a whole lot there. Alright, so Alfredson's playing on the second line with Salinger and Loge. Alright. We are facing Bob Essenson. We have Giebag in net. And we tied 2-2. My goaltender disappeared. Not sure why. Alright, so we were outshot 38-21. Still managed to tie it though. So Kalle Johansson was the first star with an assist. Trevor Linden, second star, a goal and an assist. And Yashin for us, third star with an assist. So Dackel scored on the power play from Radek Bank. And Daniel Alfredson from Yashin and Kalle Johansson. Alright, strong game for Teppo Numminen in Phoenix. Not Winnipeg anymore, so he had 4 assists. Pretty good game. Red light stays on for Teemu Selanne again for Phoenix. He had 3 goals and an assist. Randy Cunnywart in Hartford is hurt, and he's going to miss 7 months. You're gone for the season for the most part. Might be coming back in time for the playoffs, maybe. That's a shame. Alright, so we have 2 preseason games left. One against the Devils and one against the Bruins. Let's see what happens. Oh, I want to look at the Devils before I advance here. So of course, Brother in net. That's going to be a given. Terry is the backup. So Scott Niedermayer and Scott Stevens on D, with Chris Therien, Ken Daneyko, Curtis Lesishin, and Jason Smith. So that the right side is not as strong, but that D is still overall pretty decent. Tom Chorsky, Zdeno Siga, Scott Pellerin, Steve Sullivan, Vladimir Wojtek that I got rid of. Sami Kapanen. So it looks like they signed Sami Kapanen, but he's hurt. Bobby Alec, Mark Janssens, Denny Peterson, Brian Rosen, Gerard Scaldi, Doug Brown, Bill Gary, Claude Lemieux, and John McLean. Yeah, the Stanley Cup champions could repeat with that lineup. It's pretty good. There's not a whole lot of glaring holes in that lineup. Alright, they're sending Brother, we're sending Extall, and we lost 4-2. So our preseason might look a little scary, but remember that in the past we've been doing pretty good in preseason and then having crappy seasons, so let's hope that it's just the reverse that happens here. So we were outshot 43-27. Steve Sullivan was the first star with 2 goals and an assist. Lonnie Loach, second star for us with an assist. And Claude Lemieux, a goal and 2 assists, third star. So Yashin scored on the power play from Degg and Loach. And Purjuice from Dackel and Mike Sininger. Peter Nedved lights the lamp. 4 goals against the Stars. Pretty good game. Sadly, it's preseason. Alright, and last game of preseason against the Bruins. Weakness in net, strong everywhere else. I believe it. They've made a few decent trades. So Mike Dunham and Garth Snow in net. So Dunham is still developing. Hopefully for them he becomes a 3-star goaltender. That should be good enough to win them games. So Ozolin, Don Sweeney, Ray Bork, Sylvain Cote, Gord Murphy, Tommy Shodin, and Jason York. So that D is pretty good. Ted Donato, Kent Manderville, Ram Murray, David Reed, Joseph Stampel, Craig Darby, Joe Gino, Oates, Primo, Richie, Cherkowski, Hines, Murray, and Neely. They have a pretty good team. I think that they can maybe I think that they can do something, playoffs wise, maybe going to the finals, maybe win the cup. I don't know, but that's their team is pretty strong. And we won 4-2. Alright, we were outshot 28-23. Daniel Alfredson was the first star of the game with a goal and an assist. Mariusz Cherkowski for Boston was the second star. He scored both goals for the Bruins, and Mike Sininger for us, third star with a goal. So Degg on the power play from Zvela and Colin Forbes. That's the first time we've seen his name there. Sininger from Jody L and Kelly Johansson, Norm McIver from Zalapski and Daniel Alfredson, and Daniel Alfredson from Yakmanev and Zardy Zalapski. Memorable night for Martin Straka. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Alright, we are going to be sending players down now. So that part takes a while too. Actually, I think I'm gonna... Yeah, I'm probably gonna save that for the next episode. I'm gonna do it off screen. New pads for Olaf Kolzig in Washington. Hopefully it helps your team win. You had a horrible season last year. And we have a trade proposal from the Islanders who are going to offer us Todd Bertuzzi or Zygmunt Palffy for garbage. No, they are offering us Jason Allen for Persvart Vedit. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright, so I think we're pretty much at a good stopping point. So prior to the next episode, I am going to set my lineup. Remember, there's going to be some waivers. If we're lucky, we're going to see somebody good there, and we're going to pick them up. I'm still at that point where I have to build with some waivers and free agents and everything. We're getting there, though, I think. Well, it's hard to look at the lineup right now because I have all of the young guys that are not going to make it, but we're not fielding or icing a team that's filled with half-star players anymore. I think that's behind us. So, alrighty. So there's not really standings to look at or stats to look at. So we're gonna go ahead and end that here. I'm gonna click on the Save Current Game button. And I am going to thank you for tuning in as usual. And if you've liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe. That's always appreciated. And until I roll this game again, see you guys next time. Thank you.